Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about rocket launchers. Once a top choice for DPS and endgame content, rockets took a heavy hit from some nerfs and ultimately were outclassed by other options. Fast forward to now, Bungie has announced that rocket launchers will receive a flat 30% damage buff in Season 13, with some exotics being tuned separately. Exotics aside, this is a huge buff and could make rockets very viable in endgame content. So let's get into it and cover what you want to look for in a rocket launcher. Now when it comes to rocket launcher stats in Masterworks, there are only a few you'll want to consider: blast radius, velocity, and reload speed. Blast radius governs the area of effect, which will allow you to hit more enemies but will not change the damage dealt to a single target. This means that a rocket with 75 blast radius and one with 50 blast radius will do the same damage to a single entity. In short, if you're looking for ad clear potential or ease of use in PvP, blast radius is your friend. If you're looking for single target DPS potential, blast radius is not the way. Unlike grenade launchers, velocity will make your rocket go faster but has no effect on impact or explosive damage. Velocity is nice to have in PvP since it'll reach your target faster, giving them less time to find cover, but this will not result in any damage on a direct hit. To summarize, in the words of one Reddit user, Quotidian Quell, the boom is not changed by the vroom. Increasing reload speed will net you higher damage per second solely from reducing time between shots. This will be where you want to invest for single target DPS. So let's recap. In PvP, high velocity and high blast radius are good. For PvE, high reload is great for DPS. High blast radius is better for ad clear. Now let's move on to frames. There are currently 4 types of legendary rocket frames, also known as archetypes. There are 5 if you count the Hake and normal precision frames separately, but there's really no difference between the two, so we're going to say there's 4. Adaptive frames will be your middle-of-the-road rocket launcher, with pretty average and balanced stats across the board. They're not the best for any situation, but they're also not the worst. Aggressive frames will have a higher base velocity, allowing them to reach max speed more easily. High impact frames will have near max blast radius and provide the greatest area of effect for damage, making them excellent for ad clear. Lastly, precision frames, my personal favorite, have an average blast radius and velocity, but they come with built-in tracking, making them excellent for both DPS situations and PvP. Having intrinsic tracking lets you land shots more easily while opening up a slot for another perk in its place. So a quick recap of frames. In PvP, I'd recommend aggressive frames for speed and precision frames for tracking. In PvE, I would recommend high impact frames for ad clear and precision frames for DPS situations. Adaptives, unfortunately, don't excel in any particular area, but they can still be useful in either setting. Now let's take a dive into perks. Like any gun, optimal perks are dependent on the use case. Legendary rockets have the same 7 barrel options, varying in blast radius, velocity, and other stats, so you'll want to choose the barrel that suits your needs based on the use cases we covered earlier. However, there are 4 standouts that I typically recommend aiming for. Linear Compensator provides a balanced boost of 5 to blast radius and velocity. Volatile Launch provides a boost of 15 blast radius for the low cost of 5 velocity. Quick Launch provides a nice bump of 15 handling and 10 velocity, making it a good choice for PvP. Lastly, Hard Launch gives an even higher boost of 15 velocity for the low cost of 5 blast radius. For magazine perks, all rockets get the same options, but there are a couple that you'll want to focus on. Alloy Casing provides an increase of 27 to the reload stat, making it nice for ad clear situations. Black Powder provides a small increase of 3 blast radius, which isn't a lot but can be useful in PvP. Lastly, Impact Casing provides a damage buff of roughly 10% on direct hits, which is the obvious choice for DPS. Now for the last 2 perks, most rockets can roll a couple good combos along with some worthless perks too, so I'll cover the best in slot perks to look for along with some combo recommendations. Field Prep will let you hold up to 2 additional rockets in reserves and max your reload speed while crouched, making it a great choice for doling out rockets quickly, whether it's for DPS or ad clear. Autoloading Holster will reload the rocket for you after being stowed for a couple seconds. This will allow you to swap between a secondary weapon in between shots without having to reload manually, making it a nice option for multiple situations. When reloading after a kill, Ambitious Assassin will chamber 2 rockets instead of 1, making it a top tier perk for PvE. With Demolitionist, kills with the weapon give grenade energy and the weapon is reloaded from reserves whenever you throw your grenade, allowing you to fire a rocket, throw your grenade, and fire another rocket in quick succession. This is a top tier DPS perk to have for rocket launchers and in general play. Also, a reload from Demolitionist does not trigger the reload perk from Ambitious Assassin. True to its name, Cluster Bomb detonates a small cluster of bombs after impact. It's nice for ad clear, but also for Crucible if your aim is a bit off. With the perk Disruption Break, breaking an enemy's shield with a weapon makes them take 50% more kinetic damage from all sources for a short duration. This can be a very powerful perk in endgame activities that have the match game modifier. The perk Thresh will give you slightly more super energy on kills, scaling with enemy rank. This is great for ad clear but doesn't work in PvP. With Chain Reaction, final blows send out a massive burst of energy to clear out additional enemies. I found this to be much more effective than cluster bombs and a top tier choice for ad clear. P.S. Rest in peace, loaded question. Now, you might be thinking, okay Evan, that was way too much information. Just tell me what roles to look for on a rocket launcher. Well, here you go. If you've played enough Gambit, you can get a curated Bad Omens from the Drifter. It's an aggressive frame rocket that comes with impact casing, tracking, and cluster bombs. It's a really good middle of the road option for PvE and PvP if you have it unlocked and don't feel like grinding for others. Next up, we have 2 roles for the Europa rocket, Sub-Zero Salvo. For DPS, you'll want impact casing, surplus, and demolitionist. Demolitionist will increase your damage per second, and surplus will let you reload faster if you have some abilities charged. Also, because it's a precision frame, it has built-in tracking, making it harder to miss your shot. For ad clear, I'd recommend Black Powder, Ambitious Assassin, and Chain Reaction. Black Powder and Chain Reaction will increase your ad clear potential and radius, and Ambitious Assassin will let you chamber more rockets after kills. Now if you want to get into weapon and armor mods, there aren't really many that benefit rockets, but I'll cover these anyways. Let's start with weapon mods. In PvP, you'll want to run Freehand Grip for faster ready speed if you want to hip fire on the fly. This is useful in the air. You can also run Single Point Sling instead to switch to another weapon faster after firing your rocket. In PvE, you'll be keeping it simple with major or boss spec mods for the additional damage boost. For armor mods, there are really only 2 that are nice for rockets, both being charged with light mods so they're not easy to come by for newer players. First up, we have everyone's favorite, High Energy Fire. This gives a 20% buff to weapon damage while charged with light and consumes a charge on weapon kills. It's consistent and applies to any weapon, so it's my top pick for the 2. Please note that it does not stack with other weapon damage buffs like Weapons of Light or Well of Radiance. Alternatively, you can use Argent Ordnance. While charged with light, readying or firing a rocket gives you a large reload bonus and damage buff of about 20% to your rocket. This does not stack with High Energy Fire or other weapon damage buffs. However, the mod itself can be stacked up to 3 times, increasing the damage buff to 25% with 2 mods equipped, or 35% with 3 mods equipped. If rockets become a main source of DPS for certain situations, this will definitely be the perk to run, but we'll have to see how things shake out in Season 13. So, to wrap everything up, rockets have the potential to be really strong next season. There are only a couple of good rockets available right now, but we'll likely be getting some new ones next season, along with the poop launcher, Heretic, from the moon. Here are some options for each archetype that can be obtained now and will not be sunset in Season 13. Now I know I didn't go too deep on damage and stats, but I plan to revisit this with more depth and optimal setups after the new season starts. Once I've gotten my hands on some good rolls and done some testing, I'll follow up on this with a video of my top recommendations after the buff. Lastly, this kind of video is new for me, so liking the video and leaving feedback in the comments is the best way to let me know how you feel about the content and what you'd like to see more or less of. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Catch you later, Guardians.